So this is your boy Karl Kirk coming to you again. So today I want to talk to you on another subject. So we're always talking about how we can make ourselves better. The number one way, well, now I'm going to say number one. We're going to talk about number 4. And number 4, the best way that we can address this thing is called managing from the inside out. So what do I mean when I say managing from the inside out? Many times we can start to take on a project, and when we take on a project, and if that project begins to basically take us in different directions or gets out of our control, how do we keep things in control? Not so much meaning that we can keep things in total control, because there'll always be situations that are out of our control. But what I want to talk about is how do we manage from the inside out? Anytime you're starting to do something, you have to start off with it one step at a time. If you're going to start a business, you can't just basically sometimes just go buy a business and just start working in it and you don't have any information on the business. You don't know anything about the business. You basically, this is your first time trying the business. You always want to learn from the bottom up. If you learn from the bottom up, then what you do is you can build from the bottom up in anything you do. Does that mean you cannot buy a business? No, that does not mean you can't buy an operational business that's already working, already in business. But what you do have to do is you have to find your way to start from the beginning to make sure that you understand a job in its full capacity. How do you do that? Good question. The first thing that we want to do when we're trying to get into a business, or we're even getting in a relationship, marriage, anything, you want to get all the information you can and start from the basic. You have to build a foundation on anything that you want to do well at. So what I've discovered is that even in my businesses, where I've messed up the most at is where I didn't have a foundation myself. I was thinking, okay, hey, I go in here, hit my head here and there. Yeah, that does work. I think you do have to just get in there and try certain things. But what you want to do is manage yourself to a certain level. So we're going to break this down basically into 3 different levels. The first level we're going to talk about is starting a business from scratch. The second thing we're going to talk about is actually taking over someone's business. And then the third one is we're going to talk about getting into a franchise. Okay? So here, number 1, if you're first starting a business, what you want to do is you want to minimize anything you need. You want to minimize the tools you use. If you need a computer, get the basic computer that you need. Don't go out there and spend a lot of money on a computer. If you need employees, get the bare minimum amount of employees that you need. Whatever you need, you want to get the bare minimum of it. Why? Because you want to get to learn how to manage those people. You want to get to learn how to manage the resources and the materials that you have. When we just jump into something and we don't have any idea what we're doing, we begin to get overwhelmed because we keep ourselves fluctuated. We keep ourselves over inundated. We keep ourselves basically drowning in a situation because we have not put our mind to understanding what you have to do, number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, and so forth and so on. You have to start at the beginning. What do I mean by starting at the beginning? We have to write down goals. We have to write down a business plan. And as monotonous and headache as it could be to write down a business plan, that's where you have to start at. You have to start out with writing out a business plan. Why? You're not going to be able to stick to it totally. It's not going to work out perfect, but you can basically execute it a lot better than not having a plan at all. Some people say, think of all the negative possible things that can happen. Well, I looked at that, and then I looked at the people who said that, and I looked at the businesses that they have, and they're not successful. So I don't believe that the more negative things you can come up with help you have a better business. What I do believe in is that if you take your time and you build your business from the ground up, there may be people who are running before you, but it's kind of like the turtle and the rabbit story that we heard back when we were all in kindergarten. Pretty soon, no matter that you have a slow start, you're going to surpass those who just run as fast as they can. They don't have an idea that they're running into bad situations. You want to get all this stuff in place. You want to talk to an accountant. You want to find everything that has to be done to properly take care of a business. If you do this, then what you're going to do is you're going to be able to step up. You're going to be able to do things. You're going to know more than other people know. If you don't, basically what will happen to you is you're going to fall off. You're going to make mistakes. Things are going to happen, and you're going to be the one to suffer from it. And basically, once you start that downfall of making bad decisions, it's just more and more bad decisions after that. The other thing is, you can't bring everybody into your business. You can't talk to everybody about your business, because when you do, you begin to see that people will drag you all different ways. They'll have so many different opinions, so many different ideas on top of the ideas you already have. You have all the ideas. If you want to learn from somebody, you go learn from people who have already done those particular businesses. Don't waste your time trying to talk to people who think they have an idea. You're already that same person. Like I said before, when we were talking about if you're an attorney or if you're a doctor or different things, you want to surround yourself with other people. You want to surround yourself in business, different areas. You want to go with Chamber of Commerce, different places where you can go and be around other people who are running a business. And then sometimes just be quiet. Don't say anything. Be the silent person in the room and learn. Now, do you want to network? Yeah, because you want to still grow your business. But if you have one or two people when you're running a business, and that means that maybe sometimes even you have to be the person working in the business, helping do some of the labor, eventually you will grow to where you will be in a position where you can totally manage it. But first, learn the inter parts of running a business before you walk out and try to figure everything out all on your own. You can get connected with other people who are doing similar businesses to what you're doing. Number two, if you purchase a business. If you purchase a business, there are certain things you definitely got to do. You certainly want to check that person's finances. Make sure they don't own back taxes, different things like that. You want to look into that business. You want to learn about that business. You want to look at, how do you get more business for that business, meaning how do you get more contracts? How do you get more customers in that area, in that business? What you do not want to do is you don't want to go jump in and buy a business, find out it's in bankrupt, find out that now their debts are your debts. That just begins to put you in a bad situation. And those are times where people have businesses and quit businesses. We don't want to do that. What we want to do is we want to do our homework. If the person is rushing you to sell, that's already a red flag. They're like, hey, well, I need you to sell now because I'm flying, I'm moving away to such and such. That's a red flag. Leave that alone. If they got to sell in 1 week or 2 weeks or a month, it's got to happen real fast. Let them sell it to somebody else. If it turns out to be something really good, that's fine. But if it turns out to be something really bad, that's you. And your investment, everything you put in there, will all be just oblivious. Or not to mention if you actually went and got a bank loan to purchase that business. You don't want to do that. So we have to be careful with ourselves. Now, let's say it is a good business. We find out, we look in there, maybe the person is ready to retire, move on with their life, do other things. Those are usually the better situations. You always, in most cases, want to purchase a business that was owned by somebody who was successful, but they're just ready to move on from that company. Maybe they couldn't find one of their children who was interested. Those are key things that you want to hear that are good things. When you hear somebody say that, I've actually had someone offer me a business before, and they told me, hey, I offered this business to my children. None of my children wanted it. And I was interested in the situation, but when we got in there, things didn't work out the way I thought they would work out. But in the end, they were still a good family. They were really good to me. They taught me an awful lot of things. But those are things that are green flags. Those are places what you want to hear. Here's another thing that you want to hear. When you hear somebody say, hey, you know what? I've been here for 40 years. I had this business 30, 40 years. It's established. I have established customers. Those are all good things to hear. You don't want to hear somebody had a business for 3 or 4 years and they getting out of it because they're tired of it. They hadn't really put in anything. They hadn't really they hadn't really cultivated that business. And so when you get in that business, it's going to just become a problem for you. So there might be some situations where now on the other end of that is let's say the business isn't that good. Let's say, but you have the money to pay back those back taxes. You find out all the things that are negative with that business and you're able to take care of it. But then you go back and you ask that person, say, hey, you know what? I know you were asking for $40,000 for this business. I'll pay you 20 or I'll pay you 15,000. And if it makes sense and that revenue is coming in to make back that loan within a year, then that might make sense. So then those are things, all of those are green flags, because I know people always talking about what's negative and they never tell you, well, what are good things? What are things that make sense in business? That's what you got to also hear. So if you hear somebody talking to you about business and all they have is negative things to say, it's not work. All the things I wish I would have known, all the things that I didn't do and all that stuff. That's good. It's good to hear those things, but you also need to hear what are positive things so that you know when you're hearing a good thing. So then we want to talk about our final one, about franchises. But when you get into a franchise, there are good franchises and bad franchises. Just for kind of give you an idea, I've met a couple of people who own Chick-fil-A franchises. And those Chick-fil-A franchises, they're very happy with them. I think even in the first year, if I remember right, and they might have changed because I know it probably changes over the years, especially since COVID. But when they were telling me about it, they were saying, I think in the first year, they just took a regular salary. But after that first year, they were even getting like, I want to say 50% of the profits, which is good. Now, the other good thing about working there as a operator owner for Chick-fil-A is for the customers, or that the owner operator has to actually work in that store on some days. I'm not quite sure if that's still the case, but that was a pretty good situation, because when you have the owner working actually in the store, it makes sure that the service and everything else is really, really well in there. So there's so many other different things. If you're a veteran, like I'm a veteran, I served 12 years in the Air Force, there's so many different opportunities that are available to you if you want to own a franchise. There's a thing called vet franchise. They do have some decent things in there, but definitely I remember they had Little Caesars. There's some opportunities in there that you can connect to. So those are some things that I wanted to talk about on those franchises. But what I would also tell you, when you're doing a franchise, you still want to do something that you believe in. Now, if you don't eat hamburgers and you don't eat pizza, you might not want to start a franchise with McDonald's or Little Caesars. If you're more a healthy eater, maybe you want to look into like a Subway. There are opportunities out there. There are people who are selling those different things. There's ways to get there. Here's the biggest thing. When we look at franchises and we look at starting a business, the first thing we do is we look at money about it. One thing that was said by Mark Cuban, very powerful. He was like, he knows that for sure if he could start a business from $0. And he said he did. Those are the things that I believe are possible too. I believe that every time I've started a business, I started with $0. So it's very possible for you to start a business with $0 and make literally millions of dollars in a year. So like I said, for me, your boy Karl Kirk, I do want to basically share some of those things for you guys. If you guys want to get certain contracts with certain businesses and different things like that, I definitely want to help you guys out. But what you have to do is you have to definitely give us a contact. We have information. If you click on if you click onto our actual site, you can see all the information that will give you our email. So our email is admin@Riverstone ENT. That's Riverstone ENT. admin@RiverstoneENT.com. So if you send us something, we'll definitely try to help you. We'll try to get those things answers for you. We want you guys also to subscribe. The reason why we want you guys to subscribe, because we believe that we have valuable information that we're able to share with you, not just on motivation, but business, coaching, fashion. Again, we're going to mention those things. Like I said, I'm going to definitely drop those skirts for you guys. I'm going to let y'all see what the sweat skirt looks like later on. We're going to put that in. But most of all, We want you guys to stay focused. We want you guys to get connected to what we're doing. But do subscribe, do hit like. We want you guys to just 15-minute shows each time, 15-minute videos. These 15-minute videos will always be useful information. I won't waste your time and I won't waste mine. It's your boy, Karl Kirk.